What's going on, guys? Sorry it's been a few weeks since I posted anything. My day job has had me working 7 days a week for a few of those weeks. I've had a couple days off here in the last week or two, but I had to get caught up on everything else before I could really get back to posting some videos. But anyways, I wanted to get out here right now, and I wanted to do a quick walkthrough on the guns that I'm hunting with currently. There's been some interest in seeing my builds, or whatever you want to call them. I really don't call these builds because they're not really built. There's some extra things on them, but they're not like, custom builds. They're not anything fancy or super expensive, but like you guys know, this is supposed to be the point of my channel, is not spending too much money to have fun. So let's jump into it. First, what we have here is the setup that I have for fox hunting. This is a Marlin. It is a Marlin model 882 SS Micro Groove 22 WMR. This was my dad's gun. He got this when he was living down in Florida. They did a lot of coyote hunting down there. This was right before I was born, so I never experienced it with him, but this is what I'm running. It was an anniversary or birthday present, I believe, from my mom to him. Obviously, my dad just picked it out, whatever. My mom was able to go get it with him. But so this is what I've been running. I have a 22 mag of my own, but this one just, I knew it shot well, and my other one's actually missing a trigger guard, so that was the main reason of why I decided to carry my dad's. But I'll tell you what, if that doesn't look beautiful, I don't know what does. So what we have going on here is, first off, I didn't put an Arca rail or an Arca Swiss plate on this gun because I don't want to drill into the stock. I like the stock the way it is. I just want to leave it alone, original OEM. So anyways, so what I did was I upgraded my bog pod to just an Amazon ball head that I was running with an Arca Swiss plate on my ARs. But I put a plate on the bottom here of this. I didn't buy a kit, I did it myself. I just took a plate that I had, I drilled the holes to match and line up. I put them on there, and it works really well with the saddle clamp currently that's on it. The original death grip, so the neighbor drive by. So what we're doing here is I have a DNT sent me this, by the way. I have a DNT Zulus V2 HD 2-20. This thing's sweet. I've taken it out a couple times. There's going to be some videos being posted of that pretty soon. We've taken it out coyote and fox hunting, primarily fox hunting, but if a coyote came in, I would feel very comfortable shooting one within 100 yards. So there's that. There's the, like I said, the Zulus V2 HD 5x20. You flip that lens up there, and there will be a more extensive video on this, but just a little quick run through. This has a laser rangefinder. It has a built-in infrared light. I know a lot of these do. I'm very new to the night vision. I've done a couple things with thermal, but this is my first experience with night vision, and I'm very, very impressed with it. So the rangefinder right here, just hit that button. It'll tell you, where your target is. And as it's moving in, it'll move and adjust with it. It also has a built-in ballistics calculator. Like I said, I'm still getting into it. It's brand new. I've only used it a couple times, and I haven't really messed with it. But the thing's pretty sweet. So like I said, I will make a whole nother video on that. So stay tuned for that. The one thing I will say on it, though, is depending on the circumstances, the infrared light in here does really, really well on its own. There's no issues with it. You can definitely take it out and use that on its own, and you'll be able to do whatever you need to do with it. But if you want to be able to see just a little clearer at a little bit, longer distance, and depending on conditions, rain, sleet, snow, anything like that, an exterior IR light is going to do wonders for you in certain conditions like fog and stuff like that. It was a little foggy the first night that I took it out, and I could still see well. The fog doesn't really mess with you that well. It just kind of plays tricks on it a little bit once you get out to like 200 and, you know, past that. But with this light here, I just have one of my Ode Pro lights on there. I believe this one is the Ode Pro KL52. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, it's the 52. The KL52 Plus, I have my IR 850 light in there. And that really, I mean, it makes a big difference once you get out at those farther distances. And especially if you have any kind of tricky conditions going on. But yeah, this is my Fox rig. Right now I'm shooting Remington 32 grains out of it, ballistic tips. And I mean, it does a great job on paper. I guess I can just say on paper because I haven't shot anything with it this year.
Whenever you're confident, try to get the stop.
He took off running. I've been slacking. Well, that's the Fox build, and give me 1 second. You guys don't have to really wait around. I'll swap it out, and on camera it'll just be like. All right, so here's my other one. This is the gun that I built to hunt coyotes with in New York. I wanted something bigger than a 22 mag. You're not allowed to use an AR, so I ended up getting rid of my ARs. I wanted to build something different. Loading and unloading is loud and can be stressful at times when you're trying to hurry up. I know people are going to say, oh, yeah, you just slap the mag in there and rank it. That's pretty loud. And when you're trying to be quiet and get in there, it can be a struggle sometimes. So I wanted to go to a bolt gun. Also, I know people are going to argue about this too, but bolt actions are more accurate. You know, you don't have those quick follow shots, but you do have a more accurate first shot, and that first shot's key. So, and usually, you know, if there's multiple coyotes, there's usually multiple of us out there. So we're going to take our shots and follow up and hopefully get a couple. It's been a while since we've had a scenario like that, so we haven't had to test that theory yet, but most of the guys that I hunt with have gotten away from the ARs. I think only 1 or 2 still carry an AR, so, and I don't hunt with those guys very often. Nothing against them, we just don't get out. You know, when we do have time, it's usually just me and Steve, or me and Steve and Zach, and all 3 of us have gotten away from the ARs. I am going to build another AR, so, and I'll make a video about that, so stay tuned on that. But so here is, this gun is very near to dear in my heart. This is my Remington 700 7mm08. I upgraded the stock. So this is the rifle that I killed my first deer with. It was on this stock here, just a regular Remington 700 bolt action black synthetic stock. It's a youth model stock, so this stock is a little bit more suited for me, but it still has that short barrel, which I like. I do plan on taking it and getting it threaded so I can put a suppressor on it, because I'll tell you what, this thing is loud. It packs a punch. So a little quick rundown of this is I am running the View, the View Sirius 384 to 35. And this thing's been a pretty good thermal scope for me. Essence Outdoors on Amazon sent it to me to do a review on, and I did the review and I got to keep it, fortunately, and I really like it. It's been good. I will say it struggles when you get into -degree weather. When it gets too cold, sometimes if the scope gets too cold, it doesn't want to turn on. It gets like a freeze frame. So that was an issue that I did have with it. Also, you can see I had to do, and I didn't mention that on the other one. on the 22 mag. I didn't mention that I had to do a dovetail, or it's a dovetail to Picatinny rail to mount the DNT on there. I did the same thing with this one, except for it wasn't a dovetail. On the 700, it actually had its own, it had, whatever you want to call them there. Had its own brackets that bolt down in. And so does this. This bolts down in, but it's a bolt down Picatinny rail. And I did a inch riser. So the 1 inch riser, that got it sitting to where it's comfortable for me. So not only is it comfortable for me, I did have to do that because of this. Let's see if I can flip that around. Because of the bolt action, and to have clearance for how far the scope has to sit back, I had to put that 1 inch riser on there. So other than the scope and the Monstrum, let's see. Yep, the Monstrum rail there. There is the Caldwell catch bag. And I've had people ask me about the Caldwell catch bag and, oh, why do you run that? Yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, when you're out there on somebody's property, the last thing that you want to do is be littering. And I know a lot of guys think that, oh, it's just brass. You dump it on the ground, you don't worry about it. Well, I don't like to do that. I want to pick my brass up. So I pick the brass up. The easier thing to do is to just run this and then unload real quick. Brass flies in here. And then when you're done, you don't have to struggle to pick it up. Normally, there's not brass just laying in here, but I was doing some target shooting, and it's in there. I close that. I don't know why that's open, but yeah. So this is it. This is the 7mm08 Remington 700 with a Magpul Hunter stock. They do make one called a Magpul Hunter Light stock. And a lot of people say that those are the way to go. I actually had a guy reach out to me. I made a post on one of the predator hunting groups that I'm in, and I asked people their opinion on these stocks. And I had a couple people get back to me, and they were like, hey, I bought this, and then I ended up buying a different stock. You know, would you have any interest? And I talked to this guy, and this guy sold me this stock. Mind you, the prices do vary on this pretty frequently. But when they vary like, you know, pretty significant amount at a time. Well, when I was going to buy this one, I believe it was like $217 or something for the stock. And that was actually a price drop. But I put that post up. I asked, does anyone know anything about them? This guy sold me this stock for $50. This thing's sweet. You know, it was $68 shipped to my house from wherever he lived, somewhere in Kentucky. And so for $60, I couldn't pass it down. It was just a no-brainer. The other thing that I want to point out on this, as much as I like the Remington 700 because they are really great guns, the biggest issue that I had with them personally was the fact that they were top loader, or at least mine was. I don't know, I think they do make some that can run on magazines, but mine was a top loader. So upgrading it to this Magpul stock allowed me to use a Magpul, bottom feeding AR style magazine, which is really nice. I can fit more ammo in there. It's just more comfortable for me. It's better to load it and all that. You have these M-locks on here. I could put lights on. I probably will attach lights on at some point. I haven't yet, but this is it. Like I said, I'm going to get that threaded. I'm going to put a suppressor on it, and it's going to be sweet.